place where you belong. Give you strength to carry on. Open your heart, set your mind at ease. Live your life and you'll be free. We're gonna rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising, rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising,
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review YouTube channel for tonight's, well, we've called it Newcastle United Live because it's just basically a conversation. We'll look at Eddie Howe's comments from earlier on today, of course, and of course celebrating the fact that Callum has just signed a new contract. But the usual applies, guys. If you do enjoy tonight's show with myself and Stato, please do give it the thumbs up. Very important that we keep the likes coming on the channel. And of course, if you're new and like what you see, come and join this fantastic community on the Toon Review by hitting the subscribe button and also hit the bell as well, which will let you know when we upload any future videos or we schedule any live shows so you don't miss any. I meant not meet any, but you know. Sorry for the late start tonight, guys. We've just got a few things going on behind the scenes, which is nothing to do with anything really. Just we're just late on. Just a few little technical fits here and there, but we're okay. We're okay. Alex, we may as well start off with the news about Callum Wilson, of course, and Newcastle announcing this morning that he's signed an extension to his contract, which means he's now with us till 2025. I've seen a few people say, oh, you know, he's made a glass and all of this. What are we giving him an extension for? But he's top scorer of the last 3 seasons. He's earned it.
Yeah, I feel like that's a bit harsh. I feel like he's managed to shake off that reputation of being made of glass. He was managed carefully last season, as we predicted. We did, well, some of us predicted that if he was managed carefully, he could get through a full season and be a useful player. And he was. Last season, he made 31 appearances, 21 starts, and he actually racked up a crazy amount of goal contributions. 18 goals with 5 contributions, which is, I believe, not his best to date. His best to date, well, actually, it probably was. It equaled, no, that is his best in the top league. He's had higher than that, but it was in lower divisions. It was in the Championship with Bournemouth. So this is his best goal return in the top flight. So, you know, best of his career. And we, you know, we're not going to be able to turn the squad over super quickly. We're going to have to add players every year, each window. And there's no reason why we should get rid of Callum Wilson. Like, if we manage his minutes carefully, it might even be useful to keep him around even longer than that contract. As a third option, if he wants to stay in the top flight, mentor and help with the squad, like squad depth. If we stay in European competitions, why not? He's very clinical. It gives us something different.
Brilliant what he said as well. When he sort of gave his quote about he wants to be Newcastle United's second top scorer of all time. It's a goal of his, and he knows that he's got no chance of getting near Shearer. But obviously, he saw what Alan Shearer did for Newcastle United. He kind of wants to try and reciprocate that in the best way he can by finishing as when he does finish his career. He wants to be second top goal scorer, which is fabulous. If he gets above the likes of people that are already there, he's going to be go down in history, isn't he? And then obviously saying about Newcastle United as a club, and you know, he just had so many positive things to say that you kind of think, you know, he's just part of the family at Newcastle, and he's happy here.
Yeah, well, he's got the number 9 shirt. Obviously, he got it off Joe Linton, which was interesting, but we won't talk about that.
He shouldn't have had that. So.
And yeah, he's been good the whole time he's been here. Even with poor management, he's been good. Poor teams, he's still been good, and with a good team, he's been even better.
Yeah,
he's a top professional. He's an old school striker. He's got a lot of good attributes, with a sprinkling of modern football about him as well. Hard worker, always wants to play. If it wasn't for his injury record, he might be even more highly considered by sort of the general media and the general footballing public. But
yeah,
I mean that's our game, because we know he's an exceptional finisher. We know he had a bit of fatigue and he's not quite as fast as he was. However, he's definitely sorted that out somewhat, and he's got his speed back. And he's still one of the most clinical finishers in the Premier League.
And also, he spoke about the 100 club, which we know is a big thing for Premier League players, and get to that point where they're remembered as scoring over 100 goals in the Premier League. He must be pretty close to that, I would imagine. I can't see him. I don't know whether you've got his stats there to hand, but I would say that he's not far away.
Is this for us or just for Premier League goals?
Premier League goals, because
God.
Obviously he scored a few for Bournemouth, I believe, as well. But
right. I'll have to count them.
Also, obviously that finishing second top scorer for Newcastle United is Premier League goals. He hasn't played enough cup games to get, all in all, I think it's Premier League. But it's not. It's just the fact that he was very, very positive about it. And the next sort of,
he's on 81.
81. So
that was just a quick count in my head of looking through the seasons he's been in the Premier League. I think it's 81.
March put a comment in saying he's 81. Yeah. I mean, look, it's not the fact that he's going to be classed alongside the likes of the legends, but his stats won't lie. If he's got the goals, then he deserves to be up there, in my opinion. I mean, he hasn't always played.
I mean, 18 goals in the Premier League is a lot. Like, there have been seasons where people are challenging for the Golden Boot on 24. So the 18 is a lot of goals with 5 assists.
I mean, I don't think he's going to get it in one season, is he? I think he's talking about the expansion of his deal. But unfortunately, nothing on Bruno yet, Alex, which, when we saw reports earlier on in the week that Bruno, it was practically, I think it was George Culkin did a podcast and reported on it, saying that it was pretty much done and Newcastle United were about to announce it. But we've heard nothing. Is that a worry to you, or do you think there's a hiccup, or are you just waiting to see? Because I think it'll calm everybody down when they do eventually announce it, including Bruno himself, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything in it. I think it's just admin. Takes time.
He may well have already signed it for all we know. They're just going to do a special. They could be doing a special thing. Like, I really like the way that Man City did it with Walker. Just sort of.
Oh yeah,
that was a brilliant way to do it. Yeah. Jackie says, nice to see Wilson signing a new deal. He was full of bacon sarnies with Bruce. Well, it was Callum that was very outspoken about the training regime under Steve Bruce, wasn't he? Because didn't he say he had to go and train privately at a gym somewhere to try and keep his fitness up? I mean, I
can't remember that, but obviously I do remember him pointing to the fact the training was a bit subpar. Steve Bruce has obviously come out a lot recently talking about, woe is me and all of this nonsense. But there were a considerable number of players who have come out and sort of said it wasn't up to scratch. They were in for a shock when Eddie Howe came in, and it's literally the masses. They can't all be wrong.
No, they can't. They can't. And look, I mean, I think Matt Ritchie came to an argument with Bruce about it as well. So I think a lot of people were very upset. Guys, if you do want to donate to the channel, of course, tonight, you can do by hitting the $ at the bottom of the live comments. That will take you through to a payment method, and obviously you get your comment read straight out as well, rather than waiting. And we do have more prizes to give out tonight, guys. We are doing 2 member draws, and we are doing a viewer draw again. This is the first one that we are giving away. It's Shearer, and it's signed And this isn't in a frame, so you can buy your own frame for it and put it in your Newcastle United catalogue of stuff. And again, this one isn't framed, but this will be the viewer giveaway tonight. And it is that famous picture from last season with, in fact, it might be 2 seasons ago that, Alex, when Bruno first signed, wasn't it? When they did the little samba dance, I believe it was at the Leazes End because I was there. Bruno and Joe Linton have both signed that. So that is going to be for all the viewers. And the final members draw is this one, a very special one, this one. It's Warjackie. And it has his signature there as well. And, of course, absolute legendary status at Newcastle United. So we've got 2 member draws and 1 viewer draw to do a bit later on. I won't do them all at the end like I did last night because I completely forgot, but that will not happen tonight. So we will do one in around 5 or 6 minutes for the members. So it gives you time. If you want to become a member of the channel, hit the join button just underneath me and Alex and become a member of this wonderful community that we have. Now, Eddie spoke about many things in his press conference, Alex, but one that really caught my eye was what he said about Joe Willock. Of course, there was reports earlier in the week that he was going to be fit sooner rather than later, but Eddie's kind of poo-pooed that in a way, saying that he's been in Spain this week, presumably to get some light, warm weather training and just try and get this problem sorted because it's an Achilles injury. Eddie said it's an Achilles injury. The one he sustained originally was a hamstring injury, and the Achilles came out of nowhere. We were disappointed for him, and he's such a key player for us. So disappointment for us as well. But our main aim is just to get him back as quickly as possible and back to his best form. So nothing really, no time scales given, because obviously we've seen time scales given by Newcastle before and they haven't exactly worked out. But it's a shame, isn't it? Because we'd love to see Joe back.
Yeah, I mean, no disrespect intended to the journalist who asked it, because I can't remember who it was, but it would have been nice if they'd have asked for a timescale.
Yeah.
Obviously, Eddie Howe's well within his rights to not give that, but at least try. It would be nice because it gives us a rough idea. But I guess we can go away and start looking into Achilles recovery times and things. But again, it depends what's wrong with him. So it's better to ask the man himself. We didn't get that question asked, so never mind.
Yeah.
A lot of mixed feelings about Joe Willock in the fan base. It seems there's a lot of people trying to tell me that it's he's not going to make the difference or wouldn't make the difference to improving the side at the moment. I don't know. I don't think I agree. I understand that obviously the left wing is with Gordon is very good, but I feel like Willock is such a nice blend of midfielder / winger. He's a very good sort of left-sided 8 / left winger. He's a nice hybrid of both. He's very athletic, very energetic. We've often pointed in the last few weeks of people being a little bit sluggish. Tonali fading a little bit. A few people obviously questioning the substitutions. Fine, okay, but a few, we've looked a little bit faded at points.
Yeah.
We had to bring on against Brighton as well. We had to bring on people. Because we needed some more legs to get control of the game. Same in Liverpool as well. We had to bring legs on for a bit more oomph. And Willock never really had that issue. He'd got so much energy.
Do you think Joe Willock? I mean, this is just putting it out there, but could Elliot Anderson do a Joe Willock position? Could he play that role?
I think they're quite different players.
Yeah.
I think Willock is much better than Elliot Anderson. And I know a lot of people, that's going to anger a lot of people. And obviously that's no disrespect to Elliot Anderson, because I think he's a little bit younger, maybe 18 months to 2 years younger. So Elliot Anderson has got plenty of time to catch up. If he
Joe Willock's got way more experience, hasn't he? So
yeah, he came through the Arsenal academy in a good crop of players. He's had a lot more Premier League experience, a ton more minutes. I think he's had 100 Premier League appearances. So Joe Willock is 2 years ahead, plus tons of experience. So I don't think it's really fair to compare the two. And there's no disrespect meant to Anderson, because I'm sure if he works hard, he may be able to get to that level, maybe even more. So it's very possible. But obviously Joe Willock last season with his athleticism and speed and the afterburners, coupled with some of the technical ability, with some of the assists, and if we can, and we've been saying this for a long time, if we can get him being a little bit more physical with those aerial duels, and a bit more clinical in front of goal, he could be an absolute superstar in midfield, because he had 7 XG and 7 XA last season, which is 7 goals and 7 assists, but he didn't get that.
Yeah.
He got 3 goals, 6 assists, so he underperformed in both. And a midfielder that contributes 7 goals, 7 assists is no joke. Considering he's only, he was 23 for the majority of last season. That's that's great. So we need him back, because he's a great option.
Yeah.
It's obviously, he's not the same profile as Bruno or Tonali or Longstaff of any of those. Willock is very much a, legs, athleticism, power, speed, likes to go into the channels and be a winger of sorts. And I don't know what his long-term position is going to end up being. It's could be a few. I don't think he could play 10. I'm not sure he's got. I could be proven wrong. I'm not sure he's got the skill sets to play 10, but he's definitely going to be really handy when he comes back anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex says, are you going to the City Cup game, Paul? I am indeed. Yes, already paid for, done. I've paid for all the cup tickets, to be honest. They're all done. Stephen's message to you there, Alex. Don't stop being yourself, Alex, over the dickhead. Speak your mind like you always do. That's what makes the show. Thank you very much, Stephen. Some people in the comments are a bit worried about Bruno's contract, Alex, if we just step back to that, because there's been some reports that he wants a release clause in his contract. Do you think that might be what the holdup is? Could that be a problem?
I don't know if it's a problem.
I think it's more of a problem
possible
for the Newcastle fans. I don't think they want him to have a release clause in there.
Look, it is what it is. It is what it is. These players come from South America. They grew up watching teams like Barcelona and Real Madrid. We know that. We don't want to admit that, but we are aware of it. It is a thing. And I wouldn't imagine it would just be a flat release clause, because then there might be a club that gets a lot of money that just wants to buy him that maybe he's not interested in going to.
Yeah,
so I would imagine if it's going to be a release clause, it would be for certain teams that he's got his eye on. Like, I'm sure in his heart, he's happy to commit to us, unless if somebody's going to bid silly money and it's a club he liked as a boy, maybe a Real Madrid, I don't know. Maybe he'll be like, yeah, I'll stay with Newcastle, unless if somebody throws a bucket load of cash at you and it's Madrid, I wouldn't mind going. Like, maybe he's saying that. Who knows? And if it's like 150 mil contract, only if Barca or Madrid bid for him, then I'd be gutted, as everybody would be, because we love him. However, they would make the fee exorbitant so we could build the squad. It's just one of those. Would it be very sad? Yes, but we would recover from it. Teams lose players like that all the time. Look what happened when Coutinho left Liverpool, and Harry Kane's just left Tottenham, and look how nicely they've rebuilt. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It would just be very sad, and hopefully it just never happens. Matt,
good evening to you. Hi, Paul, Alex, and chatters and Mod Squad. Fantastic to catch a live screen. Thank you very much. Brian says Willock was one of our keys to our success last season. He's been the key quite a couple of times, actually. If you look at when we brought him in on loan under Bruce, if it wasn't for his goals, then I think we would have been in the doo-doo, quite honestly. Matty says, hopefully little Joe won't need an op, because ops on Achilles never leave them the same. Gramax says, anybody saying Willock would not improve or help our midfield hasn't watched a single minute of us playing in the last 2 years. Well said. I completely agree with that. I reckon Anderson could play that role, says Brian. We missed Joe in transition, says Stephen. Gramax says Anderson doesn't have the legs or ability to do what Willock does. He's not that kind of player. Stiff Gator says Joe Linton looked better with Willock in the team. They had great chemistry down that left-hand side and interchanging. It was great to watch, wasn't it? I mean, I think it was one of the cup games that we were at, Alex, last season in the Carabao. I think it was maybe a bit against Leicester or somebody like that. They combined brilliantly. And I think they worked really well for, if I remember, Dan Burns' goal, when Dan Burns scored, of course.
Yeah, I think it's a double whammy of of ball carrying that we've lost. And I know people are going to ding the buzzer here. Ding, ding, ding. There we go. Yes, we sold Maxi. So, and I think it's obviously we've gone in a different direction, but I think that's unexpectedly kind of been a double whammy in that we've lost a ton of ball progression. In the carrying sense, we've got lots of ball progression with passing, but we've lost a lot of our carrying ball progression, which was a big part of the way we played. And Joe Linton's not making as many of those carries. Willock's not playing because he's injured. Maxi's gone. So apart from the Gordon runs, we've lost so much of the ball progression that was through carrying the ball. And obviously Isak was really good with both Maxi and Willock with little combinations and counterattacks and carrying the ball forward. So all of that's just disappeared. And we're having to find other ways, but it's been pushed. A lot more emphasis has gone onto the passing side of things. Isak's been slightly isolated in games. And it's not a criticism; it's just what's currently happening. And I'm sure the coaching staff are fully aware of it. And I don't know what's the answer. Do we switch things up? Have we got the personnel to switch things up? I'm not sure if putting Anderson in the side is going to offer more of a ball carrying threat. I think he's just a different profile to Joe Linton. And Joe Linton apparently had a good international break, so maybe it's fine to give him another punt. And because I think after those 3 games, he deserved to sit out. I don't think he was very good against Brighton at all, but he was good for Brazil, so maybe stay with him, see what he does.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people asking who the referee is tomorrow for the Brentford game. It's Craig Pawson.
I'm just booing. I don't know. I'll boo all of them. I don't know who he is.
Boo all of them. Well, Craig
remember.
Pawson, I believe, is he's crap. They're all crap apart from one that we can never have refereeing us because he's a Newcastle fan. But there you go. It's just the way it is, unfortunately. Right. Let me see. This is the first giveaway. This is for members only. Now, I will stress again, members only. If you aren't a member of the channel, do not take part in this one because you will get the chance to take part in the next one, which is for everybody. Okay, so this is just for members. Okay, so to win that prize, you need to put in the comments #Shearer. #Shearer, all in lowercase. That is all you need to do, but you have to be a member. Okay, you've got to be a member of the channel. If you're not a member, don't bother. Okay, because it filters them out anyway, so it's just ridiculous. So if you want to win the Shearer stuff, make sure you put #Shearer and you have to be a member. Right, while that's going on as well, Alex, also Eddie commented today on another 2 of our supposedly injured. What's the matter?
Adam Turnbull. I'm not going to ask you why the word gifted autocorrects to fisted in your phone, but we'll move on from that.
Thank you. Rachel Pedley, you are not a member. Stop cheating. Anyway, he did talk about Tonali and Botman, Alex, and I was quite surprised with what his reply was about Botman because he's literally been written off for this game during the week, certainly in the build-up and over the international break. On the possibility of Tonali, he said, I think he felt his thigh in training, so he's come back here and he's had a scan. There is a slight injury there. It's nothing serious or too long. We've heard that before. But we wait and see whether he's available this weekend. Now, first of all, on Tonali, Alex, I think if there's any slight doubt that he's got an injury, there's no way they'll risk him, surely.
You would imagine not, but unless he's fine, it's impossible to say. If the injury that was found, the physios deemed to be healed and he's fine to play, then he's fine to play. Or if they want to be precautionary and bring Longstaff in, fine. Or is it kind of a tactic just to make Thomas Frank not sure what the midfield's going to be? Could be any of those 3. We just don't know.
Yeah.
Because he's, we've known him long enough now. He's been our manager for long enough where we've seen him play all 3 of those cards. So, back in the day, we could speculate. You could be like, well, he's always said this, so we can go with this logic. But now we know he does all of it. So it's can never really tell because he's tried all those tactics.
Yeah. I've just seen a comment from Stephen. He says, my autocorrect does the same, Alex, but don't ask what it does when I type squirrel. We won't. Don't worry about that. So keep putting in if you are a member. We'll leave that open for about 5 more minutes. Hashtag Shearer, only if you remember. There will be a viewers draw very shortly as well for everybody. So just if you're a member. Now, about Botman, Alex, he was asked on the prospect of Botman making his return against Brentford. He said possibly yes. He's trained this week, so fingers crossed for Sven. We'll see how he feels today. So everything that was said yesterday about, there's been so many photographs and things like that from training, nobody's seen Sven Botman. It's one of those where they just haven't pictured him. So
Botman's more important than anyone in that team. We need Botman back.
Yeah.
We proved last year that we can beat pretty much anybody if we've got the defense intact. Mm-hmm. So he would be huge because then we've got options all of a sudden. We could do Burn, Botman, Share, Trippier, and if Botman can't play the full minutes, maybe we're ahead. We can bring Botman off and protect him, bring Hall on, bring Tug on. There are options. Again, it depends. If he's trained all week, did he specifically use the words all week?
Yeah. This is what he said. Possibly, yeah. He's trained. Oh no, he's trained this week. So we don't know how many days. But I mean, this week, would you class that as all?
Does that mean? Yeah. I mean, I obviously we've got Champions League on Tuesday, so. And I know Eddie Howe was very quick to talk about that's not important, but
I don't know. I mean, he always says that, doesn't he? We'll see how he feels today. And the majority of the time when he says that, they end up playing. It's not
again. Centre halves aren't responsible for covering as much ground. They're not going to have to press as hard. It depends on how he's feeling, how fit he is. Tricky one. However, Brentford with those pacey forwards, he's going to have to, again, Botman's going to have to make recovery runs and put out fires. You know what our fan base is like. If Botman comes back and makes a mistake because it happens, it happens. It's quick centre forwards. And Botman on that right wing, if he has to put out a fire. It
happened against Liverpool, didn't it?
It does happen. It doesn't matter how good of a centre half you are. I mean, look what Van Dijk did. Van Dijk got sent off. It doesn't matter how good you are. You've got no divine right to just be good every game. Everybody makes mistakes. So it concerns me. I'm concerned with him. I'm concerned without him. It's just a very irritating situation.
I don't think. But I don't think ahead of the Champions League game. If Tonali is in any doubt at all, I can't see him being involved. And the same for Botman. If there's a risk with Botman and he re-injures
if there's a risk
himself,
for Saturday, there's a risk for Tuesday.
I guess
too short of a time span. Yeah. So I would imagine he's going to play in one of these fixtures. Based on his comments today, he'll play in one of them. Which means it's potentially a risk in either. So I think he'll risk him in one of the games. It's just a question of which. Yeah.
Ryan, thank you very much for gifting 1 membership. That is very kind of you, mate. And that 1 membership went to Jackie Nicholson. So well done, Jackie. You can now enter the members' draws, which I believe you already have. Gary Wishart, thank you very much for your £5 super chat. He says, Paul and Alex, do you think Eddie can and is willing to change the team formation to chase a game? i.e. Tuesday if we go behind? I don't think there's going to be much. I think there's not going to be great panic, I don't think, about Tuesday night if we don't get a positive result. I mean, that's not to say we don't want one, but there isn't going to be that kind of blatant panic, is there? Because there's plenty of games to go, but we'd like to get a good start, I guess.
Depends on what Eddie Howe values, whether he's going to value goal difference in this competition. It's new territory for us. I would imagine, based on his decision-making and the way he talks about football in general, he'll be happy to shift formation. We've seen him do it when he's chasing games and he wants to win. He did it last year. He changed formations. He brought Wilson and Isak on together. He pushed two of them up front together and played a funny 4-4-2. And then obviously there were other games where they both played in a 4-3-3. But he's done it, so I would expect him to definitely do that. I don't think, certain managers wouldn't, because they'd be like, right, well, we want to protect the goal difference because we want to try and finish third, and blah, blah, blah. But that's not Eddie Howe's style. I just imagine he's quite happy to change, to try and chase the game and win it if he can.
Yeah,
points are important.
Indeed. Darren's lineup for tomorrow would be Pope, Trippier, Share, Botman, Hall, Bruno, Longstaff, Joe Linton, Barnes, Gordon, and Wilson. I don't think we'll see Barnes and Gordon on in the same 11, but I'd like to see it. I really would, but I don't think we will. Unfortunately for us, but look, Eddie knows what he's doing. Let's just put our hope again in Eddie that he gets it right, because we know what's going to happen. If things don't go right tomorrow, Alex, the haters are going to come back out and say, oh, he's definitely not good enough. We can't even beat Brighton and all of that crap, which will get thrown at us again.
Brentford, but yeah.
Who did I say?
Brighton. It was close. Begins with a B.
Begins with a B. Solid. Right, let's do the draw before we move on. And this is, of course, for the Shearer photo. I'm just going to share my screen so everybody can see what is going on here. Can we all see that? Is that up on the screen, Alex?
It is indeed.
Okay.
59 entries.
59 entries. So 59 people who have memberships have entered. Here we go. We should have a drum roll for when this goes on, shouldn't we? Jay Welsh, you are the winner of the Shearer photo. Can you put in the comments that you are aware that, I presume that's not you on your that's not your profile. That's not you. But please do put in the comments, Jay, that you've won, just so we know that you're aware of that. Julie J, welcome back to Members Club on your new account. You've just missed out on that one, but there is another members draw later in the show. Still waiting for Jay to comment to say that he's won. Come on, Jay. There he is. Jay, as with the guys that won yesterday, the email address is right down in the middle of the description of this show. It says business inquiries and then the email address. If you can email me with your address, please, and put in the subject Shearer photo winner, and then I'll get that sent off to you on Monday morning, my friend. So thank you very much, and well done, because you are the winner of that Shearer photo. We'll do the next draw very shortly. I love the way Julie just sort of missed out on that one, though. But welcome back, Julie. I know you've had problems with your old account, but she's back. She's back. Right. Now, on the 2-day week, on the 2-week wait for a fixture, because obviously we said that it had possibly come at a good time, Alex, after the defeat at Brighton, just to reset everything and try and, recuperate and rest and get back to training and things like that. However, I didn't realize that Eddie was only left with 12 squad members, which can't really do anything with 12 players, which kind of worries you in a way, because a lot of these international players didn't come back till Wednesday, Thursday. Certainly the three South American guys. I mean, you're probably looking at late Thursday they got back. Anyway, what Eddie said was, I think afterwards that my preference would always be to play again after a disappointing result, but it wasn't to be. So we've come back here and worked well, I think, with the players that we had left with us, around 12. The lads have been good, training has been good, and now we're ready for the next game. So he's been very positive, but I think surely deep down, Alex, the fact that he only had 12 squad members and a lot of the actual starting 11 were away on international duty.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the biggest indicator that we might see changes, because Miggy had a little niggle, didn't he, in international duty, and then he was deemed that everything was okay. Fair enough. But those three lads did get back quite late, time zones and all that shebang. And there were players that remained with him, like Murphy and Barnes and Gordon. So maybe he's worked on things, and Longstaff as well. So maybe he's worked on things with those guys and said, look, when we come back, you're going to be the guy, whoever that guy is. He might have had this conversation. He would have said, like, we're going to try something different. We're going to do this. He might have worked on certain things with people who he wants to bring in. We might see a Barnes start. We might see Murphy come in. Who knows? He's worked with those lads. He might try and change it up, and he might have been working with them to change the plan against Brentford, mix it up.
No, he's also he also said, Alex, that regarding the media itself, he's poo-pooed everything that his job's on the line, or he doesn't listen to any of the negativity when it's in the press and things like that. He just doesn't bother with it, which I think is the best way to be. He doesn't even read it. He just gets on with his job. And I think Eddie, from what we've heard from Bournemouth fans, has always been like that. But it was interesting that question was actually put to him, because normally we were asking, about certain questions being asked. Why ask him that, though? It seemed very, very strange to ask him a stupid question like that, whether he feels the pressure.
Waste of a question. It's the kind of people that when they find a magic lamp, their first question is, "How many wishes do I have?" And they waste they waste a wish. It's just again, they exist, and I have to be very careful what I say, because obviously we've had sort of Keith Downey on the channel and stuff, and I want to be respectful, but I do feel like there could be a better lines of questioning from certain journalists. From sort of lesser publications, they get that time and access with the manager, and they sometimes we all think it, and this has been going on for a long time now. However, there were some interesting things from Eddie Howe. He made specific reference to, because he U-turned. He was going to start talking about it, and he U-turned about the midfield not functioning. Yeah. He was about to elaborate on it, and he stopped himself, and he started talking about something else. So he's aware that that's a thing. He's aware that journalists have written articles about it. He's aware that people on social media have talked about it, and people on YouTube have mentioned it.
But surely, Alex, he'll be aware himself. He's not a stupid man. He's a very intelligent manager, and he'll be aware himself that it just hasn't quite clicked yet.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know.
Really?
His suggestion was he's aware there's been external sources talking about the midfield not functioning. And his immediate response was to point to the Aston Villa game and how it worked perfectly, and that was one of the best performances. First half against Liverpool was he said it was one of the best performances since he's been a manager. I can't really disagree with that. We were better than Liverpool for a half. And Liverpool are an elite club. So
he said that there's only been out of the 4 games we've played, that we've only had one bad performance.
Well, yeah, I think that game against Man City, we that was the plan of action, and it just didn't work. I thought we tried to pay them lots of respect, try and nick a goal and win, and it didn't work. But it was the plan, and I think the lads executed the plan well. And the goal came from a wonder move from Phil Foden. Can we blame the whole 90 minutes? No, not really. Like, the plan against Liverpool was a good plan. The lads just didn't have it up here in that final phase of the game. But they played an okay game up until they just couldn't bury it. And it was mentality. It was lads taking pot shots, not following the plan. And I kind of agree with Eddie Howe to a point. I think a lot of it went right. It was just mentality, and a few bits didn't quite click. Yeah. And I know that sounds like excuses, and I guess it is to a point. But I feel like if you really break it down and take a step back and have a look at it, I feel like we're more than capable of sort of absolutely battering the next few teams that we play, because we're still there. We're still a good team. It's still in us. We've not suddenly lost it. We've played 3 of the best technical teams in the league, and we were good in parts of those games. We just lost it up here. We really did. And then the Brighton game, Eddie Howe said it himself, to be fair. He says, I don't know, but maybe we just really got affected by that Liverpool loss. He stated that, and I probably is. It's mentality. And this is what we've talked about before on this show. This is why this season with the Champions League is going to be such a good season. And this is why the tough group is a blessing in disguise because we get 2 fixtures against AC Milan, 2 fixtures against Paris Saint-Germain, 2 fixtures against Borussia Dortmund. If any of these lads get to the end of the season and say they haven't got mentality, they don't belong in the team anymore, because that is a good season to build a bit of determination and mental grit and fortitude. You've been to some of the best stadiums on the planet, and this is where we build this season. And a lot of these younger players in the squad, sort of 22 to 26, this is where they get all this experience now. So the next season up there is not going to be an excuse anymore. I feel like we're allowed to give them the benefit of the doubt this year, because there's only a handful of players that have done that, like Trippier. There's a few, but a lot of them are going to have to learn this. That's what, and probably points to the reason why we've tried to buy winners.
Very true.
Like Botman won the league, Trippier won his league when he came. We've tried to recruit winners where possible. Kind of makes sense. I feel like that next step is really up here as well.
Right, can we stop all the Irani granny stuff in the chat, please? We know there's only one, and hopefully the other person that's been impersonating Irani granny will now change back to their agreed name. It's just I'm trying to read and put comments up on the screen about football, and I can't because there's so much granny stuff going on. So although it is funny, let's just change it back to football now, because we are going to do our second draw of the evening. And it's for this. Now, this is the Bruno and Joe Linton dance from a couple of seasons ago. They've both signed it. So basically what you need to do, this is for everybody now as well. Put back in the chat, hashtag Brazil. So hashtag Brazil, spelled B-R-A-Z-L. No, shut up, Paul. Spelled B-R-A-Z-I-L. Right? Hashtag Brazil, okay? And this is for everybody. So everybody watching, hashtag Brazil, and you'll be in the draw. So get going, guys. All in lowercase, hashtag Brazil, B-R-A-Z-I-L. And you
I like how everybody ignored you and just spell it correctly anyway.
Well, yes. I mean, obviously, they don't listen to me because I'm just stupid at times. But there you go. Now, there's been a comment in the chat which caught my eye there from talking about the training ground, Alex, and there's been clips again of kids waiting outside the training ground and players coming out and driving straight past and kids getting upset that no players have stopped. I think something at that training ground has got to change with the actual road into it, because the players can't do anything right as far as some people are concerned. And of course, a few weeks ago, we saw that kid kick the back of I can't remember whose car it was, when they didn't stop and stick his finger up, which his dad found out about and he was dealt with. But we can't have this kind of thing going on, have we? We've got to make it a bit more, because the players, sometimes they'll have had a hard training session and focused on the game, and they want to just get home and prepare for the game, especially the day before. So you can understand that, majority of the time they stop for the fans. A lot of them do, but sometimes you just want to get home.
Yeah, I mean, this is where a lot of the fan base is, and it's the second time we'll use this phrase. We've got to take a step back and understand that they're people. A lot of these lads are early to mid-20s, who are not from this country, who are learning a second language or third language. They've got a wife or a young girlfriend. They've got newborn children. A lot of them have got young families. There's a lot of pressure on them, and a lot of people point to the wages. Fine, okay, fair enough. They get paid a lot of money. They've got to deal with it, and fair enough. But they're still humans, and they can deal with it. They'll only be able to deal with it as best as they can. And yeah, you just got to lay off them. We've lost 3 games on the bounce. A lot of them are probably not feeling great. They're a bit nervous about the season. They want to make sure they do well for the club and for themselves and for everybody. It's just tough. And yeah, I do think the training ground needs to change, but I feel like they should change it respectfully and make sure that people have still got the opportunity to maybe greet the players if possible, but it needs to maybe be a bit safer for the players. It's not quite right. I'd expect maybe the club can coordinate that better than we can.
Well, the thing is as well, when the cars come out, and drive to exit the training ground, the kids are all over the road. And there was that incident with Maxi. I don't know, it was a couple of years ago, where the kid complained that Maxi nearly ran him over. I mean, you stand in the middle of the road and trying to get them to stop. That's not going to endear you to the players, because the players it'll piss the players off more than anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what's going on in their life. Maybe they finished training and their partner's got a baby scan, or there's a hospital appointment, or they've got stuff to do. They're still people.
Yeah,
we've got to be respectful of that.
Fez, mate, I don't know whether you've deleted a couple of comments from people putting hashtag Brazil. I'm not sure why. They can put it as many times as they want as well. And it's not just members only. This is for everybody, mate. So you've deleted a couple of comments. I'm not sure whether you think it's a members draw or not, but please don't. It is for everybody, this one. Just removing duplicates, he says. They can enter as many times as they want, buddy. To be honest, I think it only registers them once anyway. So if there is duplicates, I think it's taken out anyway, buddy. But thank you. That's fine. Right, we'll leave that for about a couple more minutes. Barry the Beast says maybe have a designated day for the fans to see them.
So somebody put a comment in that where's it gone? I mean, it was Irani Granny, actually. That's not a bad idea. They should make an autograph area and send out different people and only sign autographs there. That's not a bad shout. Have a couple of players on rotation.
Yeah.
Monday through Friday, they're on rotation. All right, 2 lads will go out on a Monday, 2 lads go on a Tuesday, 2 on a Wednesday, and they just rotate who goes out. They go out for 15 minutes, sign a few things, and then they bugger off. And then they can crack on. You just put it into the rotation, and then change the road so it's all nice and safe. That's just one example of how it could work. There's probably loads of ways you could get it to work that's better for the fans. It means they get recognized and they get the autographs and they get things like that. And then it means it's safer for everybody. It's win-win, right?
Yeah. Matty says the training ground road is getting very dangerous. They should make the kids wait behind a railing or something. Well, there's no railings there. That's the problem, Matty. And I agree with you. But I like the idea of, sending a couple of different players out all the time. And
I'd imagine that road's probably council owned, isn't it? It's probably not theirs.
Possibly,
a lot of bureaucratic hoops to jump through there.
It's just where the stand in front of the cars. It's an accident waiting to happen. And of course, the one player, the person that does end up hitting the kid is going to be one of the players blamed for. And how's the player going to feel? I think it's very dangerous. Matty says there's a few TikTok kids who go up there and wind the kids up. If the older people up there behave better, maybe the kids would follow. Yeah, I've seen a couple of absolute wazzocks at the training ground, to be honest. Some absolute, I'll not say, but
Ian's just said something again. Can I just mention something, because this is just irritating. Again, you're entitled to your opinion, Ian, but again, if there's a player who's, like I've just said in my example, has got to go to a hospital appointment or something, it doesn't matter what their salary is. They're still human. They still have loved ones. They've still got stuff to do. It doesn't matter how much money they're on. They're still allowed to have a life. If they've got a baby scan to get to, or a blood test, or a this or a that, they're not bad people because they don't stop once for children. There's children running all over the road. They're human.
And they shouldn't, they shouldn't just judge a player because he hasn't stopped. There could be a particular reason, like you've just said. The player does not have to stop and explain why he's not stopping. That's his entitlement to go on. And to be fair,
the salary argument, it's not fair.
No, I agree with you, Alex.
Get it, but
I know they're on a lot of money. But listen, the fact is, the matter 95% of the time, a lot of them stop. Let's not just say, the players never stop, because they do. But the times that they don't, the way kids, and not just the kids, the way some adults react to them not stopping is disgusting. And that isn't exactly going to endear you to the players to say, oh, yeah, I'll stop for you next time. They'll think, not a chance, I'm just going to go straight on. But, yeah, it's the road itself is pretty shitty, to be honest. Right, let's do the draw for the Joe Linton and Bruno. We've at the moment 185 entries into this, so plenty of people have entered. Here we go. So this could be absolutely anybody. Jason Said. I presume it's Said and not said. But Jason, if you're in the chat, can you please put that you're aware that you've won? So we know that that prize has been claimed. We'll give you a couple of minutes to do that. And if not, we will draw it again. So Jason Said, please do put in the comments that you know you've won. Yes, he's there. Hello, he said. Jason, as like anybody else, email address just underneath it's in the description. Email me with your address, please. And in the subject, can you just put Brazil photo? And then I'll know it's Joe Linton and Bruno. So well done, Jason. You are the next winner. And the final one will be done very shortly. That will be, of course, a members only one for that one. So well done, Jason. Plenty prizes to come in the next few weeks, guys. We've got lots to give away. And a big thank you as well to Spike Milligan for providing a lot of the prizes. Absolutely brilliant gesture. So thank you, Spike, for that. But well done, Jason. Right. Finally, we need to talk about the importance of tomorrow's game. Now, obviously, Eddie gets asked the importance of games all the time. But what he doesn't normally get spoke about, Alex, is very often he's been very reluctant to talk about the opposition. And the opposition manager. Of course, if you can remember to our previous manager, he used to big every team up that came to St. James's Park and say that, well, it's going to be a difficult game and they're excellent and things like that. But he has spoke about Brentford this time, which I thought was very, very interesting. He says, on the key to success with Brentford and the job Thomas Frank's done, he says probably a mixture of a lot of things, really. Shrewd recruitment would be one. And a brilliant coach who's done amazing things on a consistent basis with the team. They continue to innovate as well. They're always moving the team forward and changing things, and Thomas deserves a lot of credit for the job that he's done. Now, he doesn't speak about a lot of managers like that because he made a comment a couple of weeks ago, if you can remember, that it's not his priority to talk about other managers, and he's not friends with other managers, but he speaks about Thomas Frank in a very positive way. And I suppose he's right what he said there. And I think when he says continuing to innovate as well with incomings, obviously they've had a very big problem with Ivan Toney and they've had to replace him.
I mean, I'm happy that my comments have been echoed from last night. Well, I say echoed. It's not like you listen to me say these things. They're well aware of that.
Hey, you never know. You never know.
But, to people who pay attention to Brentford, they're going under the radar a little bit because obviously all the attention's on Villa and their recruitment. A lot of attention is on Brighton and the way they play. Brentford are very much under the radar. There was a lot of emphasis in the last 2 years of their set pieces and how good they are. And they were one of the best set piece teams in Europe and in all of Europe, not just the Premier League. And now that emphasis is shifting. They've recruited well again. They've got Ben Mee in on a free. They've got Hickey in as well. They've got some pace up front. Obviously, Mbeumo has progressed and is now 24. Just a really nice, balanced, careful side with a good identity that, they're a really good side. And Thomas Frank's done a cracking job and they're just flying under the radar from the mainstream media at the moment. And again, I feel like, I can't remember what I said when we did the preseason show, but for outside shouts, I can't remember where I predicted Brentford either, but I feel like 4 games in, I feel like Brentford deserved to be that new outside shout pick for breaking into a top 8, a top 7. Maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but maybe they've not got the depth for that. But they're a really good squad. They're a very, very, very tidy squad. I don't think there's any danger of them even talking about being in the bottom half this year. I'll be surprised if they're in the bottom half. It's got to be top 10, surely.
Yep, absolutely. Right, we'll comment on what he had to say about the game tomorrow in just a second, but the final draw of the night is for members only. I will stress that again, members only, and this is for the Jackie Milburn framed photo with his signature, and all you have to do is put in the comments, Milburn. All in lowercase, hashtag Milburn, and you will be in the draw. So hashtag Milburn, and this is for members only. And we'll leave that up for around 5 or so minutes. So hashtag Milburn, but you have to be a member of the channel to be entered into this one. Now, Alex, finally, what he said was about tomorrow's game. He says, I think it's a game we obviously want to do well in. We know and we understand the game that we're in. I don't want to build it up any more than it is, really. It's a game that we have to approach in the right way. It's a difficult game, a very dangerous opponent. They've got good skills and a good way of playing, got their obvious threats. But for us, we have to return to our highest level of performance. And I think if we do, then I'd back us to get the job done. So just stressing there, basically what we're all saying, Alex, is, when we're on top form and at the top of our game, we can beat anybody.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think there was very little in the Man City match, even though they're obviously a technically superior side. I still feel like it's a winnable game. So they're not going to win every game. There are many games where you don't win them when you're the better side. So I think we were better than Liverpool, and it was very irritating that we didn't win that. We know we can beat Liverpool. I think we can beat Arsenal as well. It's not gone very well recently, but I feel like we can. There was an own goal and it just all went a bit wrong. But it you know what I mean? It always felt very much like we could do better. I feel like we can. Some of the goals we conceded. I feel like the Foden assist for Man City, I feel like that was maybe unavoidable. But like the Fabian Schär own goal against Arsenal, and so I think we can beat any team in the league. I really do, especially when we're, as Eddie Howe said, when we're playing our game. I don't feel like many teams can handle us, and that's proof, because when we're firing on all cylinders, we don't just win; we absolutely steamroll teams. 5-1, 5-0, 6-1, 5-1 against Villa. In the last several months, when it clicks, it absolutely clicks, and we batter teams. And he's completely right. If we turn up, we will destroy them. We've just got to turn up, and he's the main guy. He's got to try and make that happen.
Absolutely. Hashtag Milburn, guys, all in lowercase. The mods are on it tonight. Anybody that's trying to cheat is just getting it deleted, and they don't go into the draw. So thank you very much to the mods being right on top of it there. Ken says 24 hours from now we will be smiling, and that will kill off all the doom and gloom monsters. Yeah, I really hope you're right. Really do, because it's a good feeling, especially when you're playing at a tea time on a Saturday, to come away with a victory. It makes the Sunday feel better, and then certainly going into the massive week that we've got. Champions League is there, and it's everything for us. It really is. Right, let's do the draw, the final draw of the evening for the Jackie Milburn framed photo. You have to be a member, Andrew. Nice try, but the mods will knock you off before I hit the draw button. There you go. So here we go. 61 entries in this, and going through now. Who is going to win the Jackie Milburn one? Mick Helmet Bolt. I'm not sure whether that's your full name or that's you, but Mick, you have won. Can you put in the chat, please, that you are aware that you have won this prize? We'll give you a couple of minutes to do that, Mick. If not, we will redraw. But Mick, you are the winner. So please put in the comments that you're aware you've won, and I will expect an email from you. It's a very interesting name, Helmet Bolt. I must admit, I don't really know if that's his real name. It's funny because some people put daft names in for their usernames, and then when they've actually got to have things posted to them, they actually have to put the proper name. Andrew, it hasn't come up that you remember, mate, so I'm not sure what's happened there. We haven't heard from... yeah, no problem. We haven't heard from Mick yet. So if Mick doesn't respond, we will redraw. KB, I notice you've just entered again. You've just entered in case we have to redraw. Stephen Harker says, I'm Mick. Nice try, buddy. It would actually come up. Hey, there you go. Mick's there. Well done, Mick. Right. Same as the other winners. Halfway down the description, you'll find the email address for the Toon review. Send me an email address in, put in the subject, put Milburn photo, and then of course send me your address, Mick, and I will get that off to you on Monday. So well done for winning that. Stato's going to sort the dog out. We'll get a couple of comments before we end the show. By the way, Mick, is that really your real name? Let us know. There's a lot of questions coming in asking if it's your real name. Mart says, building a quality squad takes time, but as we get depth, there will be more competition and we will fire on all cylinders more often, as players will know they will have to perform to keep their place. Absolutely. That's a given, to be honest. It's an absolute given, but, hopefully that'll be... we will improve. Right. That is it for tonight, folks. Thank you very, very much. Congratulations to the winners of the prizes. We will, obviously, I'll send those out on Monday morning. The winners yesterday will get theirs early next week as well. So they will all go. So don't forget, if you've won tonight, to make sure you email me with what prize you've won in the subject, and they will be sent straight to you. But thank you very much for watching. Billy and Alex will be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. with the build-up to the match, with, of course, all the team news, etc., and then live commentary of the 90 minutes from 5:30. So it will be a blast of a show. And, of course, we've got the watch-along for the Milan game coming up on Tuesday night as well. So plenty to look forward to, match reviews, previews. It's all coming in a busy, busy time for Newcastle United. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you to the new members and the mod squad. You've been brilliant. Thank you to Alex. But again, thank you to you guys for tuning in on a Friday night. And the guys will see you tomorrow. I'll do my instant reaction, of course. And the three of us will be back together Sunday evening for the match review. Until then, we'll see you soon. Good night.
Away the lads and lasses.
Yes!
Come back.